Okay, welcome again to my kitchen table and our discussion of hospital safety. There, I did it again. I looked at my video last week. It was too much light and back that we've changed. And I have a habit of saying, when I stop. I'm going to try to get over that. Joe, Courtney, you're going to have to keep me on target. Raise your hand, Joe. Because the way I teach, I have my notes. I have my plan but it flows. So as I finish up one idea and I'm ready to go to another, I do And I hate that when I listen to people, and that's my goal. I'm going to stop doing that. But what it'll mean is I'll have to stop talking, which is okay, and look at my notes or my book before I go in a certain direction. I think when someone's teaching you, you have to understand how they're teaching you and what they're presenting to you. And I have always worked from the moment and used what's happening around me to illustrate something that I want to talk about. So today we are talking about preparation for battle, which is the first chapter in this book. And I have some ideas of how we can focus on that. Before I go on, I'll share a little bit more about you. Jamie's laying here, Maddie's wandering around. There are therapy dogs, so I like to have them present because they do therapy for us. So hopefully Maddie will settle down, Joe, eventually. Okay, we've been married for how many years?
58.
58 years, so he gives me little hints of what I need to do. Let's start right with Pat. Now, first of all, the listener to me, you're going to go in a hospital sometime in your lifetime, you or your family member. You can think, hopefully it's not right away, hopefully it's a long distance away, but you need to focus into that it will be a part of your life. We're all human. We get sick. Things happen. We have to be taken care of. So by looking at this now, we're able to plan for the future. Not right away, but for the future. And that's what I feel that our discussion can do for you. Now, I got up this morning and I looked out at the lake at 7:30 this morning, and there's ice fishermen out there. It was kind of interesting. It was 35 degrees, and I watched them for a while, but it was how they prepared for what they were doing. First of all, they had to know the depth of the ice, which we know that's what, 6 inches, they say in the paper. So they had to know that, and they went out and they spent almost half an hour or so, there were 3 of them, plotting out where they were going to make their hole in the ice. It was very interesting to watch how they did it. And they consulted with one another, and they set up in a certain spot. One was getting their bait ready. The other one went over to another spot to dig a hole. So basically they looked at their environment, they looked at their safety issues, and they also consulted about how, obviously they want to catch fish. They were prepared, they had their heavy, you can see this orange jumpsuit on, I guess. They were all prepared. So when you go to the hospital, you need to do something similar to that. You have to know your environment you're going into. You have to know the safety issues. You have to come with the right tools to be safe and also to complete what you want to do. You need friends. You need a group to discuss and work on it. So it was all laid out for me as something that is a basis for what you do when you're facing a hospitalization. So in planning, I talk about picking hospitals and like that. I don't want to go into that. I want to go into the real nitty-gritty of a hospitalization. And that has to do with the staff that are caring for you. I think we need to, because it gets very confusing when you go into a hospital now. When I was, and you got to excuse me, I like to talk about the past. When I became a nurse, we had a beautiful cap. That was such a wonderful thing that we wore, and we had, when you got that velvet black band about it, that was a great accomplishment. At one time in our history, it was felt that was more like a servant type cap. It doesn't, so they were abolished, which is, I think, a shame. You know, everybody wears scrubs now. Very practical, probably a good idea to actually for infection control. That. But when you go in there, it's very difficult to know who's taking care of you. I recommend when you go in there, you check that name tag and you acknowledge that person first as an individual. So you're Mary Jones, you're a licensed practical nurse. I'm very happy that you're taking care of me today. You're establishing a relationship with the caregiver. And it's important, I'm an RN, I think it's extremely important that you know the name of the RN that is in charge of your unit. If you don't ask that question, they're not gonna, RNs are disposable cost-wise. You got to know who the charge nurse is. That's extremely important. You just, who is the head nurse on the unit? And that means days, evenings, and nights. There should be an RN supervising everybody. Now, she or he won't be giving you your bath, giving you your daily care, but they know what's going on a unit. I know head nurses, they're called head nurses, now they're nurse managers. They're really, if I use the term head nurse, they know, the good ones, they know everything that's going on. I remember when I was with the students, there was one nurse at the hospital. She was tough. She was a head nurse. And some people were afraid, in a certain sense, to go there. She was an ex-Army nurse. And you knew, and when I went with my students, I knew that we could answer any question she asked us. We had to be right on top of everything. So that RN is the crucial person for your safety. And as I say it again, because historically, hospital administrators, a lot of money, Joe, you help me on this a little bit. Doctors come in and they want equipment. They want things for their surgery. And this is a high-level investment by a hospital. What they do is they save money on staff, or they at least factor in a little lower priority. And if you're looking at staff and it's a business now, don't forget it. Hospitals are businesses. When you look at the bottom line, the cost of staff is a big consideration for hospitals. Now, at the present time, over in California, they do have a law that says how many patients an RN should have to care for. There was some motion to do that here in New York, but I don't know what's coming. But I do know, you as a consumer, remember you're a consumer of healthcare, you're going to say what is the safety issue for you. And if you have an RN supervising everything, I think that you're in a safer place, safer position. Now what do you have? You have your RN, who is the charge nurse, the nurse manager. Then you have LPNs, which are licensed practical nurses, wonderful nurses. They do a lot of great care. Then you have nurses' aides, which are a bedrock of a hospital, very good. And then you have technicians. Okay, they could be bedside technicians, they could be laboratory technicians, they should be x-ray technicians. Okay, a whole hierarchy of caregivers. And they're all trained. Now the RN, the LPN are trained from institution. The other caregivers are trained by the hospital. And hopefully they have a high level of care, high level of preparation. Okay. So this is preparation. You're getting ready to go. You need to know these things when you first get into the hospital. It's very important. Now, Courtney, before we go, I want them to meet you because, come on over here for a minute. Only because, now can I consider you my avatar?
Yeah.
Okay. you're an avatar for the listener, right?
Okay.
Because Courtney's never, Joe sat there a long time listening to me. I've been the mouthpiece for 59 years, so he's heard all this. But in a certain sense, it's all, what I'm saying is new to Courtney. Something either goes, woo, that's interesting, or I don't understand that. So in a certain sense, I am looking to you, dear, for the kind of feedback that I need, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So this is Courtney, Joseph going to his plate. I guess we only have 15 minutes. I could go on and on because I'm on a roll, but I'm gonna stick to the 15-minute limit. And I just want this time for you to know that this is a space you can come to for 15 minutes and learn about hospitals. And that, the other thing I didn't tell you last week, I'm 81 years old. Joe's 82 now, honey?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he says, but we're 81 run. You can either say, oh, they got some wisdom there. Or you can say, those old two farts just want to have their space. I don't know. I hope you think that maybe we have some wisdom
Yeah.
to share. You think so?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Very much
Yeah,
so.
Courtney thinks so. So I guess next week, next week I've ordered my medical supplies, gloves, dressing kits, urological catheters, central venous line kits, IV supplies. I've ordered those. I don't know if I'll have them for next week, but next week that I do want to go on and certain procedures. I just want to have you know where we're going, okay? See you next week.
Now, how about,
How did they get us?
How did they get us?
How did they get us on the internet, YouTube?
It's YouTube. The channel's name is Lynn Golunka. So just looking that up, or Hospital Battlefield on YouTube, and they should be able to find you.
Okay, well that sounds good. Then maybe okay, that's good.